You're now tuned in to the highly. You're now tuned into the highly. You are now tuned in. You are now tuned in. You are now tuned in to the
Highly Favored Podcast.
It all started right my wrongs, but learn to love them. Been depressed, but love my brothers. Learning from my mom and father, thankful for how we are, how we always have each other. And I'll probably lose my mind if I dream I lost another. I've been fighting all my demons, but I think I learned to love them. Through it all, they see me struggle, pick me up and say I love you. Now I'm tripping, acting distant. Was a player till they bench me.
Episode
I look back
19.
on what it could be, but my final thoughts are mystery. I've been chilling, learning about the past, but not a future history. Meant to know is what it should be. Can't let no man disrespect me. Since a kid, a different breed. This plateau's behalf to me. Just promise me you'll look after me. Can't lose myself in this tragedy. And I feel like I'm dying soon for being so lawless. Cause I spill my soul regardless. And that'll make me a target. Paranoia like they hear me in my head while I'm not talking. Just promise me you'll be there when they throw me inside the coffin and drain.
Yeah, that was Deon Williams from his new EP, Art, All Real Things. Pretty good EP. I'll talk about it more probably a little bit later in the episode. But welcome, guys. This is the Highly Flavored Podcast. This is episode number 19. I am your host, Eddie Royal. And thanks for tuning in. Everyone that's going to be on the Facebook Live, everyone tuning in to the IG Live, welcome. Anything of importance first, man, that's going on? I don't know. The government's back up and running for now, for a little bit. They say it could possibly shut back down in like 3 weeks or something like that. So hopefully not. Hopefully they get their shit together, and we can just continue to move on, and people not be afraid that they're going to lose whatever benefits that they have, whether it be welfare benefits or health benefits in general. Things of that sort. Besides that, everything else is entertainment and music. That's all that's been going on of importance on my end. That I actually care about. I try to stay a little detached from politics sometimes because it could get depressing. I try not to watch the news as much. I live in Philly, and that gets depressing. You know, someone's always getting shot, or it's always just some fuckery going on that I try not to see, man. I just want to check for the weather to see if it's cold enough or hot, too cold or warm enough to go outside. That's all I really care about these days. I mean, I know that times are just bad. You got to watch yourself at all times. Besides that, man, hopefully everyone is having a great week. Hopefully everyone had a great week, and hopefully everyone continue to have a great week. Hopefully the start of this week has been pretty good so far. Mine has been pretty good. Yeah, nothing pressing, man. So, just starting it off, one of the top, at the top of the podcast, one of the topics of discussion so far has been the Tory Lanez and Don Q rap beef. And they've been keeping in that rap, which I really, really appreciate. So that's good. And we have to figure out who's up right now. Now, round one, they had Don Q drop first. He dropped the I'm Not Joyner beef, which if I was Joyner Lucas, I would have had a problem with him saying something like that. So it would have been a whole different beef starting. And then Tory Lanez dropped the Don Queen diss track in response. Now, I think that, in my personal opinion, I think that round one, Tory Lanez took it. I think that he just had more pressure applied, but I guess that's the benefits of dropping after your opponent drops in a rap battle. I think that's applying the pressure on that. But I think Tory Lanez won the first round. Don Q dropping a second diss and Tory Lanez not responding as of yet. In a lot of people's opinion, it kind of gives Don Q the edge as far as saying that he's winning now, just because it's two two diss tracks to one, but I still didn't find the second diss track that far better than Tory Lanez first diss track. Not just on a sense of I think Tory Lanez just has some more things said and is personal, and we know when we get into rap beefs and rap battles that a lot of things are taken off the table, and pretty much you can say almost anything you want. So the things that Tory was saying were more personal, more direct. Truth or not, it just seemed like they were a little more hard hitting than the things that Don was saying towards Tory Lanez. Don was trying to, in my opinion, like swindle his way out of being talked about as far as I don't have as much money as you and I'm not as successful as you and all these things. So don't talk about that. Let's just talk about rap, which I can appreciate. But at the same time, Tory could rap too. So it's not, you're not over impressing me with the bars. So that was the thing. That's the thing in my opinion. It's like I wasn't overly impressed. It wasn't like he was giving them the best lyricism I can think of as far as diss battles go, and it's right now to me it was mediocre. It sounded like Tory Lanez. It sounded like Tory Lanez was more prepared on his end because his diss track flowed. It wasn't a lot of it didn't seem like he took a lot of breaks. It sounded like he just went in, did the take, and came out. Now that could just be a recording thing. Like maybe Tory Lanez he is, but he's just the better recording artist than Don Q. Because you can hear and just from my ear, it might not be anybody else's, but for me, and on both diss tracks, you can hear the punch-ins and the overlapping of some of the words and things. Like no one talks, like you can't talk over yourself. That's not a real thing. So it's one of those things in rap battles where I feel like you can't overlay bars and start another bar, before you finish your last sentence, and you can't rap like that in a diss, because I feel like if I have to put it in the persona of if you were standing face to face, and normally in rap disses it's like it's not really about who makes the best song, it's about who's saying the most things either lyrically or the most things personally, and we have to decide who's the winner on that. So but just for being the better performer of the diss, Tory gets it. I think Tory said some better things in his diss, so I get that. A lot of people are unappreciative of like certain lines, like he's talking about the dream doll thing and she don't have nothing to do with it. It's just it is what it is at this point. We got Game saying shit about people that they probably had nothing to do with wherever he is in his personal life, but it happens. So when it happens, it's here now. Nothing is off limits. I guess that's the name of the game. And if I gotta win, I gotta win. So, what do you like? In my opinion, if I was Tory, I probably wouldn't come back with another record. It is what it is. I'm done. Like I'm not gonna keep battling fucking Don Q. Success wise, it doesn't do anything for me. As if me being Tory, it doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't boost my credibility as an artist, because we all know I'm the better artist. I make better songs. I have way more hits. I'm a streaming act, a high streaming act, and and I can maneuver in a lot of places that you can't. So this is just a sparring thing. Same thing with Joyner. Joyner's up and coming, and he battled Joyner, but that was I think that Joyner is a little further in his career as far as notoriety than where Don Q is right now. And it was seemingly at that time a good spar to have with someone who did a track with Eminem and who was highly regarded as one of the best up and coming lyricists, mainstream, et cetera, et cetera. So it just seemed like for this one, even Don Q admitted in one of his diss tracks that of course this does a lot for me, being in that brighter light, et cetera, et cetera. Just paraphrasing, those weren't his exact words, but he did admit to that. So just going in knowing that, and knowing that Tory Lanez is willingly prepared, or saying he's prepared to take on pretty much anybody in the industry, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the aspect of someone not being afraid to actually be a part of rap, to make it competitive again. And it doesn't always have to be because we have bad blood. It doesn't always have to be because we fucking the same chick. It doesn't always have to like it. Sometimes it could just be about you know competing. This is a competitive sport. This is rap, and it's supposed to be the best man wins. It's supposed to be the best artist. It's supposed to be the one that everyone is looking up to. It's supposed to be the best lyricist. It's the one that everyone is looking to for certain criteria and things like that. So all of those all of those things being placed on the table, Don Q lacks in a lot of areas when you're trying to compare him versus Tory Lanez. It's like and there are a lot of hardcore quote unquote hip hop heads that would say, nah, none of that matters. None of that shit matters, man. If you can rap, you can rap. If we battling, we battling, and I'm gonna bar you heavy. But that's not the era that we're in today. Everything is about clout chasing and sometimes you don't you give someone more shine than you should with your personal light, and you don't want to do that. It's one of those things that sometimes you just like, I don't want to give you any more of my light. I don't want to give you any more of my time or my shine. I'm just going to actually go out here and make music, unless it's somebody else. Now, he called out everybody. Everybody was assuming that Pusha T was talking, or that he called out Pusha T. Everyone was looking forward to like a Pusha T J. Cole beef brewing, and for now that hasn't happened. And Tory spoke on saying, I'll battle Push 2, and everybody's like, nah, then you're reaching too high. So if he could battle Don Q, because this is how I'm looking at it, as far as where you are in your career and your level, your sales, what you're streaming, etc. Because that's normally what people are talking about. They say, nah, that's a little bit out of your reach. I would say that today, in today's time, that Tory is outselling Pusha by a mile. I would say that in maybe in the past few years, Tory would outsell Pusha T by a mile. The fan bases are different. So if we're talking from a stance of notoriety, Tory's gonna win there. As far as just knowing his music, not knowing who he is. A lot of people know who Pusha is, but a lot of people don't know his music. A lot of people don't appreciate his music. That's like, whatever. He's not entertaining enough. He's a rapper. He's a rapper's rapper. That's what Pusha is. So a lot of people telling Tory, nah, that's out of your ballpark. And I'm like, I don't think it is. I think that on some level, they even out enough to where Pusha could take on that battle, or should take on that battle. Not could. He could. I think he can, battle it out with the best of them. But I think that I just don't think that Pusha T cares about the same things that a lot of other artists cares about. Like, I don't think Pusha cares about being known and popular, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I think he just want to rap sometimes and just want to get his word out, get his music out, get his story out, and keep it moving. I think he's way more interested in the business side of things now at this point in his career. But him coming at J. Cole, now I think that is a person that is above Tory's scale of reach. I think that's someone that's like, if we're talking sales, notoriety, and skill, we would put all of those things together, and I would say, J. Cole is something you shouldn't be reaching for. Kendrick Lamar is someone you shouldn't be reaching for. Maybe Drake, maybe, you know what I'm saying, because he's been tainted and had a couple issues, but especially since the battle with Push, last came through, it's like one of those things where it's like, maybe you can battle him, but I don't know if that's something that he wants to do as per his career. So a lot of things are differ from that. A lot of things change. A lot of things make those views different. But I think that certain people may be out of his reach in that aspect. But Pusha T, I don't think is someone you can say that's out of his reach. I think that's something that would actually be good for Pusha, his career, and his label. Win or lose, I just think the notoriety. But see, I think the fear comes in it is, what if the public says that I lost, being Pusha T? Because Tory getting in the battle with Pusha T and losing does nothing to tarnish his credibility. It doesn't hurt it at all. We'll just turn around and be like, it was Pusha T, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay. But if Pusha loses to Tory, then it's like, dog, you lost to fucking Tory Lanez, my nigga. And then we look like, then it's looked at different. The perception of how good he is as a lyricist is now tainted because you lost to someone who was supposed to not be as good as you. I'm not. No. I'm not sure that he's coming at Cole. I'm not sure that Pusha T was in response to Cole, but I do know that Tory Lanez said that I'm willing to go through the entire Dreamville's lineup, and once I do that, then give me Cole at the end of it. So he was saying it. He said it, these are his tweets. These are his things that he said on his personal platform, and so I'm not just trying to go off of like, it's rumored and speculation. These are things that it was taken from his page, out of his mouth, when him and JID were exchanging tweets. And he by him saying that, now that's his. I feel like by him saying like, all right, listen, I'll run through the entire Dreamville lineup, and then once I do that, y'all give me Cole, right? That's just saying like, I know he's a little out of my reach as far as his star power goes, and that's what I feel like on that. I feel like he gave him respect on that aspect. Like, your star power is here, okay, so I'll do some heavy lifting in order to get this battle that I want. Because Tory is just looking for the notoriety. Like, he's trying to be placed in the conversation of who's the top 5 active rappers right now, etc. At this point, with him continuously battling people, I will place him in mind. He's entertaining, and I'm talking mainstream. I'm not talking about just bar for bar like battling. I'm talking about the complete package of an artist. The talent, the lyricism, the song creative ability, the marketability, all of those things. I'm packaging everything together, and I'm placing him in my top 5 of people who all meet those same criteria. As far as my clarity goes. But for other people, it's obviously not going to be that easy, because they don't want to remove or replace some of the people that they hold dear in those positions, and some of those people probably haven't dropped a project in 3, 4, 5 years. I'm talking about people who are consistent. At least within the last 2-3 years, give me something, a couple singles in the album in the last 2 years, and then talk to me. But I like it, man. I like what Tory has been stirring up over the past 4 months, 6 months. I don't mind it. Like, some people is like, go sit the fuck down. You just getting on my nerves, and then you're just being thirsty, and you're gonna. I think it's good to have someone out here being competitive. I feel like, we need that in sports. Imagine this. There's just one basketball player that's just walking around every game like, nah, he's ass. I'll take him on 1-on-1. I'll bust his ass. Blah blah blah. And they're on a winning team, not just like a loser, just like, man, he's ass, and then like, but your team keep losing. I'm talking about like, if LeBron was walking around like, nah, like every game is an interview like, nah, I'm the best player in the world, and no one can beat me. Or Steph Curry just walking around every interview talking shit. We need that makes it fun sometimes. Sometimes it makes you the villain, but it brings entertainment into something that's competitive versus just being like silent competition, because we're making up all of our own scenarios about shit that we never really know about, because we want to see stuff. We sit here, we constantly, before it was actual real beef, we used to put Nicki and Cardi against each other because there were no other females in the game that were popping enough to have that competitive beef, and then they end up having real beef, and now it's like, what the fuck they beefing for? We get so confused because we don't really know what we want unless they start it. If they start it, then we sit back and say, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. If NBA players had real beef, we'll be here for it. Not saying every time they go on the court, they got to fight. They let their games speak for themselves, but they talk about it at the end. You know, if KD and LeBron had real beef and wasn't practicing together every summer and shit like that, and they talked about it, like, no, I'm not practicing with him. You know, I don't respect everything that he's doing, or I think I'm the best player in the world. So why would I keep, going with him and giving him all my moves and showing him the things that I can do over the summertime so he can come and combat that? No, I'm gonna go work on my game. When he see me, he can't check me. Those are the things I want to see. You know, and Tom Brady talked shit all the time, because he talked a little bit of shit at the end of this year, and everybody was like, oh, I'm here for it, because he don't talk much like that. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's here for it. Now they're here for Tom Brady talking shit before the AFC Championship game. They're here for him talking shit before the Super Bowl. Now they all here for it. So we got to figure out, man, what do we want rap to be? We want it to be competitive. We got to keep it competitive, and we got to allow the people in it to compete, but you do compete within your class. You do compete within the realms of what you're worth. It's like boxing. It's like you can't just win 2 fights and now you're 2-0 and you just got into in a welterweight division or whatever the case may be, and start saying I want Floyd. They're gonna be like, what? What are you talking? You got 2 fights on you, but I'm undefeated. They can't see me, and then it looks weird. So I do get it. Sometimes you gotta work your way up the ranks and do what you gotta do to make that, to get that spot. If you want it, you want it. Go and get it, man. Tory, keep fucking shaking the tree. I'm here for it. Keep shaking the tree. I enjoy it. The diss tracks that came out of it, I've enjoyed those for the most part. Someone has to lose. I think that Tory shouldn't go back at Don Q again. But he might. I think just for out of the sake of being the man and pride. But Don Q has time, so Don Q doesn't have to stop. You make another one, Tory. Don Q's gonna jump out in round 3. If you make another one, Tory, Don Q's gonna jump out in round 4. It's not going to stop with Don Q. You have to just stop it and either say, forget it, I done dropped enough. I feel like I smacked you around over 2-3 rounds, and I'm not going to keep giving you my time and energy, boosting your star power, giving you some of my light and my energy. Nah, I'm good. And say it. Like, make it public and keep it moving. All right, whatever. And let it go. You know what I mean? Then after that, you can be a bitch, a hoe, Don Q, call you pussies, and you just scared and all that, whatever. But my career is here, your career is there. You're in the shadow of someone, and I'm out in front of my own. Those are the things you end up having to take into account on your own time. It is what it is, man. Yeah, but right now, I still have Tory up winning in this battle, even though Don Q dropped 2 diss tracks. Just my opinion. It doesn't have to be anything agreed upon. It's just that's how I feel based on what was said, how it was delivered as a diss, the entertainment value of it, and the lyricism of it, and the wordplay, and what, if something made me laugh, if something was funny, or something made me say, oh shit, I think Tory had more of those things packaged up that I can hear clearly on the first go around, because it's a diss track. I'm not trying to continuously listen in this microwave era to the same diss track 1,000 times. Let me know what it is up front so I can get it, man. So it is what that's it for me on the Tory and Don Q thing. But let's talk about this game issue with the over the top vulgar lyrics claiming that he had a nice raunchy sexual experience with Kim Kardashian, if not once but multiple times. The lyrics were super explicit, and a lot of people are questioning either why now or what made him say it and things of that nature. And I mean, I don't know because I don't know him, but let's speculate. So I assume with things like these, when they happen, that there was something, or there has been something said to the game, or something that crossed his path, or something with his relationship with Kanye. Now, granted, they've done songs together, they've done great music together, they seem to have had a good relationship up until this point. So I don't know why he would just like if I have a good friendship or business relationship with someone, and I used to deal with your spouse or whatever the case may be, I'm not just going to randomly come out of nowhere one day and just say these things. That's normally a normal type of thing that goes on just with human beings. So with all of that, he's out here saying those things. I'm like, so I'm pretty sure Kanye caught wind of it. When is Kanye going to say something? Me being like as a man, it's like, he said what about my wife? Like, when is he going to say something? When is Kanye going to step up and say something? Or somebody in his camp? I mean, I know Kim and them were doing their thing. They done warned the game about the content. I also heard that the game took the lyrics out of the song. So we'll know once the album drops. We'll know if he actually did. But I heard, that's rumored that, they pressed him and he was forced to take, or he just chose to take the lyrics out of the song. But that's just me assuming that there was some type of legal action threatened to be taken against him, and he knew he would have lost it. And he was like, it's not worth it. It's not that worth it. They heard it. They got the snippet. The world has the snippet. So that's the good and bad thing about this social media era is we have it now. We have the lyrics. We heard what he said. What now? It's out there. It's not there now, but it's not gonna be on the album. But we got the leak. And we don't even care too much about the rest of the song. People want to find out if it's true. That's all they care about now. Yo, did that really happen, yo? You gonna talk about it? You gonna deny it? Like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? And obviously, we're not gonna put it past her. She got a whole sex tape out. That's her claim to fame that everyone's speaking on. So we're not gonna put it past her. She had a little squabble with Ray J at the end of the end of last quarter of the year, and they were talking about it and saying Ray J was saying like she's lying about some of the things that she did, or saying that she didn't do some of the things she actually did do, and she's a little more nastier than what you guys assume, blah blah blah, because she was like, we ain't never do half that stuff you talking about, blah blah blah, and I just think Ray J one of them people is like, why the fuck I gotta lie for her? That's how I feel. I feel like, he gets off on those type of things, like part of his ego is like, I don't have to lie about stuff like that. I'll tell you the truth. It is what it is. Here you go. This is what happened. No, that's true. No, that's not true. But that happened. This happened. You want to know a couple more details that she might deny? Okay, here goes some more details. I feel like he does things like that, but it is what it is, man. Like, I feel like there was something that happened between Kanye in the game or somebody in the camp or whatever the case may be, and there's some type of bad blood, because there's no reason for him to put out something like that. Just super random. But they pressed him about it. Kim K's team pressed him about it, and he's gonna remove the lyrics. It's been rumored he took the lyrics off of the song. So once the project drops, the lyrics, those famous lyrics, will no longer be there. But we're not gonna miss it. It is what it is. What else is going on in the music industry? Let's see. Nick Cannon says that Travis Scott's relationship with Kylie Jenner isn't for the culture. And I blinked and was like, wait, weren't you in a relationship with Mariah Carey, who's also not black? He also went on in that interview saying that, like, I love white women, blah blah blah. That's not what he's saying. He spoke on it from a angle of he said, what do you call it? Cultural equity, saying like what he's doing provides no cultural equity. So he's saying like Big Boy performing at the Super Bowl is okay because he's proven time and time again what he's willing to do for the black community. Travis Scott hasn't. Granted, with this performance, he's donating. Well, he forced or had the NFL agree to donating $500,000 to this Dream Corp things that he. I don't know anything about this charity project or charity group or whatever. I have no idea what it is they actually do. And maybe I should have looked into that. But at this point, it doesn't matter. I never heard of, but he had the NFL donate $500,000 to this corporation in order for him to perform at the halftime of the Super Bowl. Okay, cool. Why not ask for more? Of course, that's question number one. And then two is like, why does that have to be the only stipulation? Now, let me just say this: I don't care that he performs at the Super Bowl or not. It doesn't sway uh my mindset on him as an artist or even as a person. It doesn't sway my mindset on it at all. He looks at himself as a business. That's a business opportunity to grow into a larger fan base on his business. His fucking girlfriend, the mother of his child, is a global icon, and he's trying to get to that level by all means so they can be even. In notoriety. They might not ever be even in money, but they may be even in notoriety if he continues to pursue good business opportunities. And the Super Bowl halftime performance is that good business opportunity. Yeah, Cardi B turned it down. I don't know why. I mean, they're saying this because of the whole them not supporting Colin Kaepernick, and that's good. I'm not against it, but I think she should have been someone to take it on too for that fan base. But she put her assumed morals in front of making a dollar. So okay, cool, great. I'm glad for it. I'm not knocking that. It is what it is. But I think Travis Scott is absolutely fine for performing at the halftime show. Whatever the check is or isn't, it's a good business opportunity and a good look for him. But the whole cultural equity thing that Nick Cannon is talking about, I saw some validity in it when he was speaking about it, like as far as Big Boy having equity in the black community and Travis Scott not. And then it was like, well, what about the 500,000 he's doing in the NFL? And it's like, that's now we're talking about like a history of, like, some people have a history of that cultural equity. But at the same time now, at this point, like, it's hard to say that the Kardashians aren't part of the hip hop culture. Not, of course, not as artists, but the people that they've surrounded themselves with, as far as spousal representations go. They were all, majority of them were black men. The majority of them were in all of them were in sports or entertainment, and all of those things tie into each other, which kind of gives them a little bit of that cultural equity as a family, as a name, the things they do to make their money and things like that. You know, these are a lot of the groups that they're catering to, and their family also changed a lot of people's perception on how they would like to view their women moving forward, not just mentally as far as wanting to generate like business, but physically too. There's a lot of people that's like, oh, my girl gotta have that Kim Kardashian body, blah blah blah, that's in the third, and it's like, you're black, and it's like, I don't care. That's the body that I want. Granted, whatever she did, she paid for it, didn't pay for it, put it together, surgery, whatever. They hold these standards now in our culture in comparison to them, who a lot of people are saying aren't of the culture. So are they not? Yeah. I think they are to some degree. They not. They aren't. They aren't the culture, but they are part of it. They are part of it. So, um, Chris Brown got into some legal issues over the last week or two. He had a young lady accuse him of rape out in Paris, and then the young lady turned around and said no, it wasn't rape, but we did have sex. Now, Chris Brown's gonna sue. According to multiple sources, Chris Brown tends to sue her for defamation. But to me, that's not the. It is what it is. I'm glad. I hope. I always say that any woman that accuses a man of a crime like that, who ended up being a liar, who lied about it just to either get back at that man or try to get some money to extort him, I think you should get the same jail time that he would have gotten if he was accused of doing it, if he was actually charged and placed in prison. I do believe that strongly. So the story gets a little more weird to me. When the young lady says he didn't rape me, but the sex was non-consensual, which is what I like, which is what I thought the definition of rape was. Rape is non-consensual. Like, if I didn't say yes, we can have sex. It doesn't have to be verbally. It could be physically. I'm giving my body to you. However y'all guys got into the mode of having sex. If it was non-consensual, it's rape. That's what I understand rape to be. She goes on to say that she was psychologically manipulated into having sex with Chris Brown. Meaning, I guess in her definition is like, I didn't really want to have sex, but he kind of pressured me into having sex, but I wanted to have sex, but I didn't want to have sex at that time. Like, it's weird. Like, I don't understand what you're saying. He didn't rape me, but he kind of forced me to have sex with his mind control. And that instantly made me think of all this R. Kelly shit. I'm like, how? How did that happen? How did you two go through all of that? Meeting up, talking about it, whatever the case may be, getting to the point of actually having sex, and it ended up being non-consensual, but he didn't rape you. So he just like talked you out of your panties. He, talked you into whatever sexual acts you performed, talked you, and then talked you out of the room. So I need to understand that. I need to understand the psychological manipulation that led to sex. That the psychological manipulation that led to non-consensual sex not being called rape. I need to understand where those parameters fall at. So, like, how do you understand? How do you place that? He didn't rape me, but the sex was non-consensual. He didn't rape me, but the sex was non-consensual. That's rape. But these are her words. So if you're not accusing me of rape, you're now accusing me of psychological manipulation. So I don't know. It sounds like consensual sex to me. Here's what it sounds like. It sounds like, and let's make it not Chris Brown. Let's just say it sounds like a regular guy at the bar who has some of the best game, known to women, who can talk you out of your panties. He goes out, he meets somebody in the club, talks you out of your panties, the whole night. You're throwing yourself at him, blah, blah, blah. Y'all go back to his place or your place. He continues to talk you up, sweet talk you down, and now y'all end up having sex, blah, blah, blah. He goes home, starts enjoying his life after having a good night with you that he just met you, one night stand, whatever the case may be, and you turn around and say, he raped me. And then he turned around and say, no, I didn't. He said, nah, he really didn't rape me. But what happened was, like, I didn't really want to have sex with him, but I did. And it's like, okay, so what are you saying? Like, how is that my fault? As the man, if we're in a situation and I want to have sex and you don't want to have sex, and I'm not really, and I'm just saying, like, yo, I really would like to have sex, blah, 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 and I keep it moving, I didn't physically hold you down. I didn't try to pressure you in anything. And you're like, it is what it is, though. Fuck it. We can't fuck. We can't fuck. And you keep it moving. And you're like, nah, it's okay. I'll give you some. I'll give you some. And you give him some. You didn't really want to give him none, but you still gave him some anyway. And it's like, after that, you saying, like, he raped me. And you're like, no, I said, like, you said you didn't want to have sex. I said, okay, cool. I would really like to. But if we're not, we're not. It is what it is. Or, let's take it back to Chris Brown. Maybe the situation was like, they're hanging out with Chris Brown. He's in this nice hotel room. He takes you back with his intention on wanting to have sex with you. You probably was like, I'm scared, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, well, if you ain't giving up the pussy, you got to bounce. I'm just going to bring another chick in here. So in order for you to stay in this nice, whatever type of room he had, you was like, all right, fuck it, man. I'll give you some pussy. And you gave him some. But that's still not rape. That's still on you. You still agreed to doing it. And I don't know if that's the exact cause of it, but I still don't understand how you can say he didn't rape me, but the sex was non-consensual. It was psychological manipulation. I don't understand it. Like, from my viewpoint as a man, trying to protect men from falling into this trap of, now there are so many different forms of rape you can get accused of, and you actually start having legal troubles over someone saying, I talked you out of your panties and now you feel like I raped you. I didn't physically harm you. I didn't slip nothing in your drink. I didn't just fucking start groping you and harassing you in public or nothing. I invited you over. You came. You decided to have sex with me, even though you didn't want to, and I didn't really pressure you. I probably just mentioned it or brought it up or tried to. You know what I'm saying? I probably did, like, that you're here because you came here for a purpose. We talked about it, and now I'm trying to get to that purpose, and I start filling you up or whatever. Or I start kissing on you or whatever, and then it's like, is that the psychological manipulation? Did I just change your mind because now I'm touching? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand it. These are things that I don't understand, and I'm trying to understand it because I don't want to seem like I'm being insensitive to a victim, to a potential victim. That's my thing. I don't want to seem like I'm just like, whatever. All these bitches is lying and blah blah blah. I don't want to come off like that. But I do want there to be some line drawn in the sand to where as though every time a female says something that we gotta fucking dead this guy. Because while there were women when he was first accused about it, and I spoke about it last episode, saying like they don't care if he did rape or whatever, they can rape me, he can rape me forever, blah blah blah. While there were women on that line, there were a lot of people who instantly went and tried to start that cancel Chris Brown movement. They were right at it. Nah, he's nasty, and that first Rihanna, and now this, and there was a whole bunch of things going on. It's like, damn, give him time to at least give him some time to clear his name to see if it's right or wrong, to see if he actually did wrong. He was instantly wiped, instantly. And it's like, damn. All she got to do is say something. All she got to do is say, nah, he raped me. And he's like instantly, just put in the shame. And then what happens? Do all those people go back on their tweets and apologize after the girl came out and said, nah, he didn't rape me? That's not what it was. But it was something. It was like rape. Like, do they go back and be like, oh, man, Chris Brown, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to, bash you for something that you weren't really accused of yet. And I just instantly believe the female because she said it. And if she said it, it has to be right. Because there are multiple cases where women have lied on men about being rapists, and nothing has happened to majority of those women legally. There are men who went to prison, or there are men who are probably in prison right now accused of rape who probably really didn't do it. There were men in prison who were let free after the women came out after years of feeling so bad for getting someone locked up for a lie, coming forward and saying, you know what, I apologize, I lied, he really didn't rape me, this was something that was eating me alive in all these years, people have lost their freedom. I remember the one guy that was big news that lost his opportunity to play professional sports. He was a great athlete and lost that opportunity because she lied on him. Because some people are so embarrassed. Some women are so embarrassed to be caught having sex or with someone that their peers or family probably would disapprove of, that they turn around and say, "Oh no, he raped me," just so they don't feel embarrassed about just regular having consensual sex with someone. And that, I find that to be very disgusting, and I find that to be too much power in the hands of women who sometimes are emotionally unstable. Certain women. This doesn't apply to all women, and I am not insensitive to crimes against women or children or men for that matter. I'm not insensitive to any of that. What I'm saying is that I feel like there should be more pressure applied to making sure the accusations are true. Because, of course, the man is instantly sought out, and when he's found, he's instantly arrested for the rape of. You have been detained for the rape of, or the sexual assault of, however they call it when they arrest you, and they will come to your job, they will come to your home, they will come to your church, wherever they will come and they will get you. They're not going to wait for you to be calm and you put your kids to bed or nothing like that. They're coming right at you. Even if it hasn't been proven yet, you will be arrested for it immediately when they find you. So that public shame and embarrassment comes with it too as men. When are we going to try to work on a better system to make sure that all of these accusations are truthful? When? It has to happen at some point. And that goes for a lot of crimes, any crime. You're accused of something and they don't really have the proof in their hands, but someone just said it. We might want to take a deeper look into all of these things. You know, it is what it is. That's how they're looking at it. It is what it is. This is the justice system. We're going to, protect the victims first, or protect the assumed victims first, and then keep it moving from there. It sounds good when you say it that way, but when you see how a lot of these things pan out, nah. Especially with rape accusations. Especially with rape accusations on famous people. Especially when they have some inkling of proof, like, hey, that's not how it went. And then especially if the girl comes back and say, no, he didn't rape me. It was non-consensual sex, but it was psychological manipulation. Sounds like bullshit to me. And you're not getting a fucking cash settlement. And Chris Brown, I hope you sue, and I hope you're ready to wipe her fucking life out for the next 10 years. She deserves it. It's disgusting. Some of the things these women do are disgusting. For fame, for notoriety, for a check. What do you want me to do? You guys are killing this, man. The last thing I want to talk about is this whole raising your children genderless thing. So Kate Hudson, this is just what made me want to talk about it. I saw an article. I want to say I saw an article on about Kate Hudson, who had a daughter who is saying that she's going to raise her daughter genderless. Just meaning she's not going to raise her as a girl, not going to raise her as a boy. She's going to let her pick and choose the things that she likes along life. And then because you don't know what that child is going to identify as when they grow older. When they start just identifying themselves as whichever sex, male or female. Wouldn't that be more confusing? Wouldn't it be more confusing to tell a child, not to tell a child, but to raise a child genderless, to not even help them find an identity as they're growing older? Those like very, very precious years when they're molding themselves into who they're going to be mentally and emotionally and things like that. You just let everything run wild and free. No control. not teaching them how to even control themselves. I find it a little disturbing. I find it a little, it's very unsettling for me that a parent can say, I'm raising my child genderless. And yes, it's your child, and people could do what they want with their kids, and it shouldn't matter. And here's the thing too, just putting it out there the same. I have no problem with the gay community. I have no issues with any of it. The transgenders, whatever. I have no issues with any of that. That's not my problem. My problem is that I feel like with things like that, you should allow them their own time to discover those things. But in the meantime, you should nourish them for the genitalia they were born with. And that's just my opinion. And that doesn't mean like as a boy, you gotta force them into sports, and you gotta make sure they're rough and rugged and allow them to hurt themselves. Doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean I gotta buy them trucks all the time or whatever. It doesn't mean that. Those are not what the things mean. The thing just means you teach them how to be the gender that they were born with. You teach them those things because we turn around and we say, a lot of men don't know how to be men these days. What if the future issue is I don't really know how to be a man because I was raised genderless? I don't know how to be just a man. I know how to be a man and a woman because I was raised genderless. I know how to be both. But I don't have one that can really dominate the market out here, so I just fuck up all over the place. So I think it's very unhealthy mentally. I just think that, if you have a child, if you have a little boy and he's growing up and he gets to his teens and says, you know what, hey mom, hey dad, like I need to talk to you. I feel like I'm attracted to this sex. I feel more like a woman, blah, 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 all of those things. The job as a parent is to not try to combat that, but to try to nourish that moment and understand where they're coming from and talk to them and figure it out to try to say, okay, are you confused, or do you already know that you want to live a certain type of lifestyle? At that point, it's about how you react and respond to those things, because you get the presumption of a lot of people would think men would just jump off the rails and be like, oh no, fuck that, man, this is my son, you ain't gonna be no fucking faggot, and you like, and all that. You think we're just gonna spaz out and say all these things, when from my personal experience, not saying that like none of my children have came to me with these type of things, but I know people and I've seen things, and I watch a lot of different content on this just community and trying to figure out like just the psyche of a lot of things, that it's a lot of the fathers who turn around and be like, okay, son, that's cool. I still love you. We're going to figure this out. What do you want to do? I help you as far as I can. But if there are certain things you want to ask about men as far as understand about, you might have to ask your mother. There are a lot of mothers who break the fuck down. There are a lot of mothers who disown. From what I've seen, it's been a lot more of the mothers as of lately have been like disowning, quote unquote, their children. I could be wrong. I don't have the raw stats. It's just a lot of things that I've seen more over the test of time. And we have grown very insensitive to a lot of the things, or desensitized. Is that what I'm trying to say? We have become desensitized to a lot of these things. So I think now as of later, a lot of men are more accepting of these things because society is like, you have to accept it and blah blah blah. And we're like, okay, but a lot of the mothers, especially when their child is young, they have fears of like, okay, especially if it's like an only child or something. Like, I'll never have grandchildren now. I'll never have grandchildren traditionally now, how you see you having grandchildren and things like that, and they get very, very upset, and it eats them alive. But the genderless agenda to me is sickening. It's just another thing to allow people to complain about, or another thing to allow people to use as ammo for discrimination, for harassment and things like that. It's like, what? Especially if you're like, if you say something accidentally or whatever, like if it's a female who's genderless, who's not really identifying herself as anything yet, and you say something like, okay, I need all of the girls on this side of the room, all the boys on this side of the room, and she's just like standing in the middle, like, I haven't identified herself. You'll be like, listen, little girl, get your fucking ass over there on the side of the girls. And then now you're getting in trouble because he's like, you can't do that. You can't say that to children because she's genderless and she doesn't identify as either. And you're like, motherfucker, I'm trying to teach a gym class. I need the girls on this side because we were doing fucking kickball, girls versus boys. She can't stand in the middle because there's no fucking third team. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those things, and we getting ourselves in trouble because we're creating more ammo to have more issues and more people getting sued over things that they just don't know because they don't live that lifestyle, or they don't understand, or they were just trying to do their job. So I think that we need to figure out a better way to go about some of these things instead of trying to push it down everyone else's throat. Like, no one should be forced to call you something that we see that you're not. Like, I can see it. I shouldn't have to be forced that. Now, if I said your name wrong, okay, I said your name wrong. I don't have to address you as, hey girl, Stacy, and your name's Stacy, but you're a man. I could just be like, okay, his name's Stacy. Oh, Stacy, what's up? Hey, Stacy. I don't have to say, hey girl, Stacy. Now, if I'm looking at you and you look like a man and you say your name is something that's super feminine, and I'll be like, is that your real name? Or did, like, you know what I'm saying? And then you're like, then you're mad. You're like, because sometimes people lie, or you wanna understand more, You look like a fucking Michael, and you're like, hey, my name's Alicia. And you're like, is your name really Alicia? Because some people bullshit. And then you're like, well, my name can't be Alicia. And then people are snapping. I'm like, nah, who the fuck's going to think a grown man name is Alicia? Oh, no, I changed my name. That's my name now because I identify as a woman. And then you got to tell this whole story, and now it's that person being homophobic or transphobic. One of them, whichever one it is. So, yo, Ziploc, what's good, boy? We gotta do some music, man. Definitely gotta do some music. So yeah, just like what you identify yourself as is not how people identify you when they see you. They identify you by your markers and your traits. And I think that we shouldn't be punished as society. We shouldn't be punished because we see you as a man and we say, oh, that man over there, or we see you as a woman and we say, hey, that girl over there, and you're genderless and you identify with nothing, and we're trying to place you somewhere because we identify everything with something. There's nothing wrong with that. For us, like, you are something, and we normally go back to whatever it was you were born with. I don't see what's wrong with that either. You're born with a vagina, you're a female. If you're born with a penis, you're a male. I don't see the issue with people saying that to someone. It's like, no, that's wrong. Gender, no, that's not what these are definitions. Like, this is what it is. And we deal with things like that all the time. We have to change laws. We have to change and add these new add all of these new different check boxes on paperwork and things like that because we're continuously adding things in because we want everyone to fit in. But then I can't complain that I'm being mistreated because I'm fucking black. I mean, I can, but people are tired of hearing it all the time. I didn't get the job because I was black. I didn't get this because I was black. I couldn't go in here because I'm black. And they'd be like, it's not because you're black, it's because you weren't qualified for the job. Like, no, because I was black. And you'd be like, no, you didn't qualify. You came in and you didn't look the part. You can't, like, whatever, all of those things factor in. And I'm not saying that groups of people aren't oppressed. We are. Black people, people in the gay community, all those things. There is oppression that takes place. But trying to force an agenda, like something we can see, like the world can see that we're black. Like when you're an African American and you walk into a place and it's a bunch of white people, we can see that I'm a black person. So I don't have to force that down anyone's throat, and I don't get upset if anyone says, that I'm black. I get upset if they say like I'm a nigger or something like that. That's different. Those are two different things. But if you walk into a room full of men and you look like a female, and we'll be like, who let the girl in here? Like, this is the men's locker room. Like, no, I identify as a man. And you'll be like, no, you don't. You have titties. You like a female. Like, you can't just walk around and say you identify as something, and now you're invading my space, and now I feel uncomfortable because, one, you're now attacking me because I didn't understand that you identified yourself as something, because I don't know what you identify as until we have a conversation. But I know what I see. Like, when you see a woman, especially if you like she's naked. I'm just saying, like, imagine a naked woman telling you I identify as a man. You're like, get the fuck out of here. You're full of shit. I identify as a man. And you're like, you don't look anything like a man. You have, breast and vagina. But that's not how I see myself. You're like, okay, I don't care at this point how you see yourself. I see you. It's the same thing with men, vice versa. See a naked man, you're like, no, you have a penis. You can't identify as a woman. But see, we take that I identify thing and we stretch it. And we say, what you identify as is a mental thing, how you feel on the inside, all these things. So I feel like X, Y, and Z. I feel like this. So that's what I'm going to identify as. But you know what's funny? When people start identifying themselves as weird shit, like the grown ass man that's 50 plus that identifies as a 6-year-old girl. But I bet you that grown ass man can't walk into a little girl's bathroom and sit down and take a pee without being labeled a pedophile. But he identifies as a 6-year-old girl. That's what he identifies himself as. Who are we to tell him that he's wrong, but we can't tell other people that they're wrong because you were born with a vagina? You cannot identify yourself as a man. But we can say, because you're 50, you can't identify yourself as a 6-year-old girl. When someone could explain to me the difference between the two, I'm on board. But you can't. We place these labels and things where we want to, where we find it convenient to argue some shit down for no reason. Because the vast majority of us don't care what you do with your personal life. But we do care how you represent other groups of people in public. We do care how you represent us in public, depending on what group of people you're attached to. Like, black people care about how black people represent us in public. We were just mad at Adrian Bronner for his fucking press conference when he called the white man a nigga at the fucking press conference, acting all stupid. And we're like, man, we gotta cancel him. He's highly misrepresenting us on a huge platform in one of the top sports. It's one of those things where it's like, what do you do? Like, where do if I identify as rich, can I walk into a bank and get whatever type of loan I want? Can it automatically wipe out whatever debts I owe? Can it give me A1 credit just because I identify myself that way? No. Let's be real about some shit. I can identify as anything I want to, but it only applies more when you're talking about your sexuality. It only applies more then. I identify as a 37-year-old woman from Canada. People have to accept that. I can't identify myself as anything else that seems like it could be very that could align myself also with some criminal activity. I identify myself as 18. If I turn around and identify myself as a 16-year-old boy all over again, can I go back to high school? Can I go back to high school and dominate the fucking high school basketball circuit? Because that's how I identify myself. I identify myself as a fucking teenager again. So I'm going to go back to high school and I want to fucking play high school basketball, dominate the circuit, and be drafted into the fucking, into college because at that time I'll be 18 again. It doesn't work that way. We don't work that way. We identify, or we should identify with what's there. I understand about, like, people go do different things mentally. I do understand that there are some men who may feel more feminine, so they feel like they're a woman on the inside, and they end up liking men and things. Okay, fine. But do I have to call you a female? Do I have to say because you like men, you're a woman? Because there are a lot of gay people who don't identify themselves as the opposite sex. They are who they are, and they just like the same sex. So why can't we keep it there? Why do we have to make it so confusing so we can have all of these different arguing points about nothing? We got to step it up as a whole, like the world. We got to stop allowing people to make a bunch of rules that don't matter to anybody else but themselves. One year, everyone's fine with transsexuals being called transsexuals. And now, a lot of people are having issues with terminology of certain things. Yes, a slur is different. Calling someone something to make them feel bad is different. But trying to change a definition of the exact word that helps us identify almost everything in the world, that helps us communicate, to try to change the meaning of that because it's making you feel uncomfortable or whatever the case may be, I find it a little fucked up. It's like, nah, you still live here too. If that's the choice that you made, you decide to go down that path, then maybe, like, you just get used to the word that is placed in our language to define you from what we see. We just gotta do better, man. Raising a child genderless, in my opinion, is disgusting. And I think that is going to cause more confusion as they get older. I think it'll do more damage to them by allowing them this open mentality of being genderless. Because I guarantee you, Kate, that little girl is going to sit down when she pee. I guarantee that little girl is going to go to the OBGYN when she gets older. I guarantee that little girl, if, Lord willing, will be able to get pregnant and have children. All of those things that I'm saying identifies with being female. Period. Nothing more exciting about that. Those are just facts. So, guys, I have nothing more. I can go on forever talking about how uncomfortable some of these things and these topics can be. Uncomfortable in the sense of, like, I'll talk about it, but it's uncomfortable because you never have all of the information, and I feel like we never will because things are ever evolving. And it's always going to be something or somebody that makes up something new to feel a way to be defamated, to feel a way to be excluded from something, to say, hey, we're this type of people, and why aren't our names on the list as far as how we identify people? And it's like, oh, well, you're saying you're new, so you gotta wait your turn. You gotta wait, put your time in as a society, as a group, as a cluster of people. You have to put your time in for us to identify you, I guess. But genderless is bad. All right, guys. Listen, I'm gonna get up out of here. This is Holly's favorite podcast. This is episode number 19. I am your host, Eddie Royal, and I am gone. See ya.